Welcome everybody to the Lead Forward Summit 2026, one of the closing keynotes that we are here celebrating today. I'm very excited that you are joining us today, and for those of you around the world who are watching this at a later time and recording, welcome. A little bit about myself, and before I introduce our speaker to take it away for the next hour or so. I'm the session moderator for this session. The name of the session, just to make sure that you've all clicked into it correctly, is called Lead from Your Story, Authenticity, Identity, and Impact. So that'll be presented in a moment. As like I said before, I'm your moderator. My name is Deepak Sharma, and I work at UC Berkeley People and Culture. I'm an HR trainer. I'm not going to read my entire bio, but yeah, so my background has been as a combination of higher education, student affairs, and then is now in HR training and development. So very happy to be here. Very excited to be a part of this conference committee. And I'm also a mentee in the mentoring club as well. So I've been for several years now. So just kind of a few housekeeping rules for those of you that are here with us in person. Just wanted to run through that just so you know at least how this Zoom webinar semi-interactive session is going to be working. So actually this is kind of the opposite. So the chat has actually been recently enabled. I know for the longest time it was actually disabled, but hear me out verbally. So it is actually now enabled so that we can have a little bit of an interactive component. But what I will ask to do is that while those of you are here, you can definitely interact with the chat. I will be helping monitor and moderate that for our attendees, as well as for our panelists, as for our keynote speaker, sorry. And yeah, so feel free to ask anything like that. And then there'll also be some space in the end for a little bit of Q&A as we go forward. As I said before, this official name of this session is Lead from Your Story, Authentic Identity and Impact, Authenticity, Identity and Impact. I'm sorry about that. And yes, so we are excited today to present our keynote speaker for this, Dr. Maryam Ghadiri. She's an organizational development strategist, executive coach, and storyteller. And I cannot wait to hear the story that she has to tell us today. So take it away, Dr. Ghadiri.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Thank you, everyone, for having me today. Such an honor for me to join this amazing conference. And thank you, everyone, for taking your time and joining me. My name is Maryam, and as Deepak shared, I'm an organizational development consultant and executive coach at the University of California, Davis. In this role, I partner with leaders, teams, and organizations to help them clarify their vision, strengthen their culture, build their system and mindset. I'm also a creative nonfiction writer, storyteller, and a speaker with a focus on immigration stories. Originally, I'm from Iran, and basically, storytelling is truly in our DNA. Today, I'm going to share with you the story that leads to leadership. So you can I'll wait for the chat, but also I start my talk as well. When I was first invited to give this talk, my instinct was to bring frameworks, theories, practices from the world of leadership, basically wearing my hat as an organizational development consultant and executive coach. And then I thought, with everything happening in the world right now, especially in my home country, Iran, maybe what I want to bring is something different. So today I want to speak from the more personal place, wearing my hat as a creative nonfiction writer and a storyteller, and take you to the journey that helped me to shape my leadership and a lens I bring to the world of leadership as my current role. I personally believe sometimes the most powerful insights about leadership don't come from models or theories or framework. They come from stories, lived experiences, and courage we gain along the way to honor them. Um, in my personal life, the moment that really impacted my life tremendously and shaped my life to be a different person or take a different pathway from the people who came before me was the day I walked into Tehran University. Tehran University is one of the top three in Iran. And I remember that how much I was so excited. And at the same time, I was very scared. I remember how much it took me to prepare for the day. I was like being very cautious, choosing the outfit I'm wearing and having all these new notebooks, pen, pencil to be ready for this new journey. I also believe that day that all my hard work, they all worked and I did it all by myself. Long hours of studying, good grades, weekend and holidays that I sacrificed. Again, I thought I all did it by myself. Years later, as I gained more awareness and began reflecting more deeply on my life, I realized that the seed of the moment has been planted long before I ever walked through those university gates. I realized that I have been carried there by generations. And I want to bring that as stories so you can have that reflection in your personal life and bring that lens of how the different generation they pass knowledge and wisdom and help us to become who we are today. I want to take you back to way before I was born. I want to take you back to my village in north of Iran, a place that my grandparents they lived, and they were farmers. They are still actually my family are still farmers, most of them, and I'm from a small village in north, and I want you to imagine young woman, my grandmother, a beautiful woman, brunette, medium size, beautiful hair, is braiding her hair and thinking about the task of the day. She has so much to do. She has um, 8 children. She is in charge of a household, a lot of work to be done, and taking care of all these workers of the rice field. And imagine how tired, exhausted, and restless she could be, constantly working, planning, and taking care of all these children, and also dealing with lack of resources, the limited resources that is stretched across this large family. She's also in charge of making big decisions, like, for example, a big decision like who gets to be educated. Um, each child sent to school meant less resources at home, no one less pair of hands helping at home and in the field. And the first thing comes to her mind is like, of course, boys go to school because that's the rule of patriarchy, and the resources first goes to boys. And then what about girls? The first daughter, the older daughter, doesn't get to go to school because she's just so valuable for the work at home. And while she decides that second daughter doesn't go to school, second daughter is my mom, who is super keen to go and get educated. So she insists, promises to wake up early, work harder, study late. And all the begging and crying, it worked. My grandmother let her go to school. So my mom is the first generation who is able to read and write and go to school. And the school is like 6, 7 miles away. That's okay. She walks there, walks back, and she keep going and always the first in her class. She's known to be focused, disciplined, organized, qualities that she carries up to these days. And years pass, and she graduated high school, being the first in her high school. And it's very interesting that she finished high school, but she doesn't know what is next. One is because she's the first person in her family and most of her village to go to school. And second, she doesn't have any role model, no mentors, no one who showed the way. And I know that this we are here because of the mentorship club, and lack of mentorship cost people a lot of opportunities in their life. And I think I'm really appreciative of like the mentorship opportunity in this club because of how it could shape them many people in my life. So anyway, without any map in her life, the path ends. And my grandma believes that she got more than enough education. So she returns home and all hard working continues. My grandma actually passed very couple of lessons really clearly. She was a person who married very young, not knowing even what is marriage. And then she had many children very soon. She was very busy with that. So she passed along a couple of lessons that my daughters are not marrying early. You're not marrying with someone you don't know or you don't love, and don't have this many children. Um, the lesson was learned. Years later in the world of leadership, I found out um, when we think about leadership, we mostly think about someone in an organization with a very nice outfit who leads the way. But leadership comes from different places. in every family, every unit you look, there is a leadership happening, and certain level of success. So the way my grandmother, with no knowledge of writing and reading, was leading was transformational, because she elevated the value and changed long-term trajectories. And again, I want you to reflect on your life. Who was that one person who changed your life, or to change the family trajectory that happened for you? Transformational leaders, they challenge limiting norms, they shift beliefs, they inspire a new future, improve conditions for others. And my grandma did it without even knowing she's doing that. So let me take you to the story of my mom. My mom married my dad, and decided that they won't have children until years later. And my dad agreed on that. And again, I want to just shed light on the feminist aspect of this, um, that my dad respected my mom's decision in a patriarchy society. So again, I want to just honor the path that people created for us. And sometimes we don't see that. They also decided to go to a big city because it was more opportunity for themselves, for their children. It was very hard, especially for my mom as an introvert person who is really challenged in different social settings. Even to this day, she's challenged by that. And also, she didn't speak the language Farsi. I'm from North. We have our own language, and it's Gilaki, and she didn't speak the main language of the country. So she really struggled and hugely to connect with other people. Um, the budget was limited. They didn't have any support, but I remember we always had money for books and education. These were one thing that they always had money for. And also my mom being a stay-home mom, and always supporting us in the schoolwork. So again, at the time, it didn't come for me as a gift, because it was very normal. But again, the insight, the reflection of what made me who I am today brought it to me. I also want to give you a bit of more context about what does growing up in Iran look like. I think Middle East is one of those locations that there are not that many. There are stories about it, but most of the stories are stereotypical. Not that those stereotypes are not correct. They are not comprehensive. They are one dimension of a one multi-dimensional story. So I want to walk you through how does it look like to grow up in Iran, because our identity is shaped through those context, inside family expectation, culture, history. And then when we come to a place of leadership, we bring those. And the more we are aware of it, the more we can frame our leadership through our lens. So I was born in 1985. I'm 40 years old now. And after so-called Islamic Revolution and 5 years into Iran-Iraq war. I don't remember war itself, but vividly I remember the consequence of war, poverty mindset, lack of resources, lack of food, medicine. So I grew up with like this really people being in fight and flight. I also remember that being in a government, like being part of a government, like living in under a government that is theocratic, you had to pretend. Like we had one life inside the house that we could just live our life, and we had one life outside of the house that we had to pretend that we believe in the ideology that is not aligned with what many of us we were believing. And also we had to wear a certain outfit that was chosen for us. And also we were living in a world a lot of censorship, because anything that was not along with Islamic ideology was censored heavily, from our history books in the school to movies, newspaper, novels. I also want to kind of open a little bit of this understanding about the word Islam, because I think it's like, again, one of the pain points when you talk about growing up in Islamic country. Oh, you all were practicing Islam and that was your identity. For many of us in Iran, we had to say that we practice, but we didn't. And every fascist regime will use a tool to suppress people, and in Iran, government use these things called Islam, and I truly believe their version doesn't liberate people but control and oppress them. And at the same time, I deeply honor, value, and respect people, including my mother, my grandmother, and many who practice real Islam daily, and they were true believers. So my critique calling my government the so-called like Islamic Republic is because like I'm not critical of faith, but basically like how faith is weaponized by a state. And so I wanted to paint a picture of like how does it look like growing up in Iran. Imagine you wake up, a young kid, maybe 7, 8 years old. My mom really liked to play certain music, so we were waking up listening to those music. While listening to music is illegal according to all the Islamic rules. And you wear a uniform that was chosen for you that covers certain all part of your body except your face, your hands. And you go to a school, and the first thing in school, you were shouting political slogans that you had no idea what does it mean. And for me, it was quite fun to shout out loud certain things as a young kid. Later, I found out what those slogan means and how we were brainwashed in a certain way. Sometimes in our class, especially when I was younger and we were in a poorer part of the town, ask us about our parents, that whether they practice at home or not. And I'm having practicing Muslim mom and a secular dad who loved poetry and kept original version of all the censored books. I would say yes, they are both practicing. And again, like it was gave me a lot of lens to authenticity because I had to say that lie to stay safe, knowing that how much people who are criticizing the system, they are not being treated nicely. And also at home, there was a lot of conversation about injustice, unfairness. So again, like as a child, I knew that what is my authentic side and what I had to pretend to be to stay safe. There's one truth that I always would carry, and it's like us civilian versus them government who is not truthful. And also like the fact that everything I do every day, many things is breaking rules, from listening to the music, choosing my own clothes, socializing freely with the opposite sex, dancing, partying, everything is like according to the rules was illegal. And here I was, and many like me, we were breaking these rules that doesn't serve anyone. It serves against certain ideology. So this is called civil disobedience, the active, non-violent public refusal to obey specific laws and basically push on the rules and aim at bringing about policy and legal changes. So the more government isolate us, censored us, the more we found a way to push back. They censored the media. We bought satellite dishes illegally. They censored the internet. We bought VPNs. This resistance is part of everyday life of people in Iran. And while it's courageous, it's also very exhausting because you want to invest all your time and energy on something that can create change in the future rather than just escaping all these rules. So I want to just say like this, there is a cost to this way of living, always pushing back. When I came to the US, so I finished my undergrad and master in Tehran University. And as a first generation woman who went to school, I felt a lot of like feeling imposter because I just didn't feel I belonged to. And again, I didn't have anyone to model the way. When I came to the US as a first generation immigrant, I it was my first time I saw in a society that is more equitable. Again, now I live here and I know that there are a lot of work we need to do here. But at the time, I was like, it's way more advanced of my community, my country. So I saw women in leadership role, women shaping universities system, this making decisions, and I was like really in awe. I also felt again so shy, and this feeling imposter was like even a stronger. I believe that my story growing up in poverty, being the first woman in my family to pursue higher education, coming from a location, a place that is misunderstood, um, is just that made me to hide and didn't want to be like again owning my story. That was something I wanted to hide. In addition to that, there was another narrative from Iran and Iranian people, and especially Iranian women in Western narration. It was this Orientalism, the submissive woman, oppressive man, a silent and backward society. While the Iranian women I know, they were always active agent, negotiating, resisting, organizing. They were like the lead in many things, pushing the society to become to become more accepting of our needs. So this Orientalism approach that shows Iran in a one single frame, um, and also this complexity makes other people, other nations feel that they are superior to this to the women who are like again suppressed all the time. So I carry that imposter trauma I had. On top of that, this image that was so forefront in the Western world made me again to hide and not play it big. And I also tried to fit in and look like others, um, which made me again not to feel comfortable because that was not me. I felt I was not enough. Many places and room I walked in, I felt everyone is more prepared, more confident, more deserving. Most of the places I walked in, I was the only diverse person, the only person with the identity of an immigrant from a developing country. So it also, again, like all those layered reason made me to feel imposter. And and again, the more and more I disconnect from my own story, the more I was like uh, feeling not belong to. Um, I just want to hear just I want you to reflect for a second in your story. Does this hiding, not feeling enough, feeling imposter, does it resonate with you? If resonate with you, just add in the chat yes, it resonate with me. And also, I want you to reflect in on your own life. Where is where in your life you are performing instead of leading? You are pretending to be others. You are hiding instead of leading. Just I want you to take a moment to reflect on that, because those moments when you shed light on it, they heal. They go toward healing. The fact that you accept that, hey, I'm not honoring this path. So I want you to just again, if this any part of this story resonate with you, write in the chat. Yes, it is resonating with me. And again, reflect which part of my life I'm hiding. Um, so I also found that like, when we pause, when we reflect on our story and we embrace all the ups and downs, this is like the authentic leadership, something that today in many organizations we are talking about. We are asking leaders to show up as their authentic self. We are asking leaders to let employees, people work under them with authenticity. So if we don't show up as our authentic self, we cannot let people show up their authentic self. So the culture is not a culture of honesty and trust. Is a culture of productivity and performance, which is a very common culture in the West. Um, so again, the more I realized what is my story, how it's impacting me, the more it showed up my leadership showed up as more authentic self. Before I graduated my PhD, I was recruited to be a director of education and research. After that, I had multiple roles as a head researcher in multiple international projects. And I found that when I embrace my full story, I show up with confidence. I make better decisions. I also am confident to share that, this decision was not wrong. What can we do as a team? Um, I lead my team with the vision of inclusive, kind, impactful that I see through my lens. Um, as a coach and organizational development consultant, I work with many leaders, either in one-on-one or in a group setting, and I found that um, when leaders, some of the leaders, they don't know how to lead, not because they don't know the frameworks in the books, but because they only follow the frameworks without being aware of what do I bring, what color do I bring to this picture, what how I impacting this whole vision. So leaders who lead with acts, they are the one that they are in this journey of self-discovery. They found their voice along the way. They are the one that sometimes they are not even forefront. They are a shy person in the back, but it's bringing everyone forward. So the authentic leaders that you see, they are different from many pictures we've seen of an outspoken person in forefront. So they embrace leadership from their own lens. Um, I also want to bring another lens of leadership that is missing, because most of the lenses of leadership is very Eurocentric, and it means it value individualism, kind of promotion in individual level, um, kind of a linear approach toward what does progress look like, and this hierarchy that one person lead and everyone follows. And there are other models. There are Afrocentric leadership that you can actually search on your own, that is very community based. It's Ubuntu. It's like we all grow together. And I try to look at the leadership that we have in Middle East. And unfortunately, there are not that much research about that. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It means like, again, most of the books in leadership are written by white male, and that is the lens we have through the world. And that is not a wrong lens. That is one of the lenses. We need to again diversify the lens. So I want to bring another lens by bringing the story of what is happening in Middle East. Middle East is one of the places in Palestine, in Iran, that many people are fighting for freedom. And if we put the noises and all this naming and tagging aside, people are losing life because they are talking about freedom. I don't want to say who is wrong, who is right. I'm not a politician. I don't have that background. But whenever people, civilian, are being attacked, that is a place that injustice is happening. So I talk about like what I want to talk about what is happening in Iran. Early January, the government in Iran shut down the internet. Again, it's their way to shut down the voices, not having anyone witness. They're terrorizing their people, and they mass murder many Iranians. There's an estimate of the number from 10,000 to 40,000. And there's an estimate, not a correct number, because the journalism doesn't exist there. Like everything is shut down, and activism is actually a crime under that regime. So what happened also when this internet shutdown happened, no one hear about this story. So what happened on the other side? An Iran side went out asking for their basic rights, pushing back on governments, the way that they rule, the way that they suppress people. And when the internet shutdown happened, the Iranian diaspora, many of us that we flew out, about 6 million of us, we are outside of Iran. We became the voice of Iranian. We raise awareness. We share the story. We contact the leaders in the world. We didn't let that silencing impact us. We just became the world. When I look at like what happened in Iran and how come people with bare hand, they make changes, they make this transformation. For me, it comes to this model of leadership that we call it adaptive leadership. Is like a real change that when people mobilize to challenge deeply rooted norms and power structure. The adaptive leadership sometimes when we talk about again leadership, we think about an organization have one leaders, and people are like again talking about what is the vision, but the leadership that comes grassroots from people. In my case, I'm sharing the image of Middle East, image of Iran is like that model of how transformation in the whole world is can happen. It's emerged from below. It requires courage. It involves huge amount of risk. Is emotionally intense. People are risking safety for systemic change and are engaged in adaptive leadership even without formal power. So imagine like all this germination of seed that is happening, pushing back a huge amount of force from government. And again, I want to bring these different lenses of leadership. So you reflect on your path, where you are from, what type of leadership you're seeing, what type of leadership you're seeing in your community that for you is a courage, for you is not being repeated. For you, it makes you feel so unique. Sometimes, again, we get distracted by all these models out there, all these frameworks that are so clean and neat. But there are many different type of leadership that can be added to that framework, and we have again multiple frameworks. So today, I want to kind of bring it toward the end, and then open for any question. Is like, as an executive coach, as an organizational development consultant, I see leadership differently because of all these layers of different leaders from my grandmother, mother, father, people of Iran, and the university setting, places that I led as a leader. They all come together. Leadership is not about fitting into a template. That would have been quite easy, actually. It is not a performing a model or a role, mimicking a model. It's about helping people reclaim their story, about you honoring your own experience and a story, and bring that to your work, bring that lens, honor that lens. We need those unique lens to make this world a better place. As I work with executives who are learning to lead authentically, not by copying other, by leaning into their journey, perspective, values, I see them gain confidence when they stop hiding part of themselves. I see that they help others to show up and shine brightly. I see that they find their voice, and then they help others to find their voice. They co-create vision with others, but they don't lose their vision. They don't force their vision. They co-create this. I see many women leaders start embracing assertiveness, being direct, male leaders who show up with kindness and empathy, something they were shy from for many years. I see, as an academic person, I work with a lot of academic leaders, and I see that how science-oriented one embrace creativity. All this means like they go back and see what has been serving them and bring that forefront. And kindness, empathy, creativity is in their past, and they have been forgotten because they look at many of the frameworks and it doesn't embrace their uniqueness. So just one last sentence, like, in a world that is increasingly diverse and complex, we cannot lead by copying others. We lead by bringing our full selves, our stories, our truth, our vision into every interaction. That is how we create a culture that is inclusive, is kind, is impactful. And that's how we lead with impact. One of the questions I want to leave with, And again, feel free to add in the chat, is like, if you honor your story and you realize that part of you is hiding, and you stop that hiding part, or the part that you want to fit into the narrative or framework that is not written for you, how would you lead differently? How would you show up differently? So I want to leave with that, to just let you reflect that if you show up authentically, how would you lead differently? And with that being said, I want to just end this talk, um, and come back to see if there's any question.
I just want to thank you for sharing that story from your perspective from childhood to your move to the US. So I put it in the chat actually that the picture that you shared with us is very powerful for me, somebody who has not been exposed to that kind of environment. My childhood was spent in the Philippines, so I would I that now I consider my childhood a very pampered uh, um, environment, right? And so um, when you decide, I just have some, a lot of curious questions. When you decided to leave the country, how did that happen? Did the entire family leave the country, or was it just some of you, your mom, your dad?
Those opportunity doesn't exist for most of Iranian. The only opportunity we have to come to the US, especially, is through education. So I was married at the time. I mean, I'm married now, but like, got divorced from the first marriage. So my first husband was Iranian, and we lived in Iran, and we were actively part of political movement called Green Movement. And when that was suppressed, we decided to leave because we basically lost all our hope in any change that we could see. And that was the point that we applied to come to the US. We applied in multiple universities, and we got to a couple of them. And I was the first person who left. And also for Iranian, again, like many people, they are like, "Oh, you're international here. How cool!" Again, we have different type of international students. For Iranian, your parents cannot come and visit you. You cannot go back and visit for so many years because you don't have you have single entry visa. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of, on top of all the grad school, all this new culture, you are dealing with this homesickness and lack of certainty for the life you have in the US. So again, like, it's just all these layers that exist when you make a decision of like leaving, and also it's become part of your story of becoming. Because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it made me such a strong person that I would not have been this strong if I never left. But also, I had to be a strong. There was no other choice either.
Mm-hmm. And so when you had your education here, going into the workforce, well, even in school, right? So the challenges of being different. Did you feel that you were treated differently in school because you're
100%.
Iranian? Okay.
Yeah. I felt like I didn't know at the time what is discrimination because it was just like, I went to Purdue University in Indiana, and I went to a small, the college I was part of was not that much diverse. There was me, and there was one person from Jamaica who we became best friends, and we are still to these days, we are best friends. So there were not that much diverse students. And I remember, like, I was the only one with accent. I was the only one who English was not the first language. Like, all this, the only one was very heavy
Mm-hmm.
because, again, you are not, the system doesn't recognize to treat you nicer because there are not that many examples of you. So yeah, it was very difficult. But also my friend who went to um, engineering department, they had an easier time because it was more diverse, and they were more Iranian there too. So they had more, you know, more
Mm-hmm.
community there.
Yeah. And we heard another story earlier this morning from one of our other keynote speakers who came from Lebanon. Nicole Haratani, she had a conversation with her daughter for that keynote. And so I just realized, wow, these are two powerful, strong women that we were able to schedule for this day, second day of the conference. And I really am very, very happy that you both are providing some light to that world, which is very different from most of what we know of, right? So not coming from those situations where the country is war torn, um, and it's a lot of conflicts, and so coming here to the U.S., having that education and then getting into the workforce, what made you gather that strength and that resilience to you know I I need to be who I am. That's the leader that I need to be. How do you get to that point of garnering that strength?
To be honest, I feel like most of the time you don't have that much of a choice. You don't choose, right? Problem happens or challenges happen, and through that, you grow. And I feel like for me, when I was back in Iran, my background is environmental science, and I remember that when I started writing for children about the environmental topic, I just published some stories, some books for children. The first light bulb was like, the future could be changed if I work with children. So I came to the US. My PhD was focusing on working with children on youth education, special needs, youth with who had visual impairment. But through my work, I found that wherever I work in Iran, here, I always struggle with leadership. If a leader doesn't have a vision, or they are not strongly communicating clearly but transparently, there's always like the teams are struggling. So during my work, I realized that I want to impact the next generation, but every time I work, the systems are struggling with the leaders. So that was like, for me, was like, okay, I need to step back and go toward this new pain point, which is a leadership, helping leaders to become a better version of themselves. And again, in the world of leadership, I came across the fact that, oh, there are not that many diverse people in this setting. And either I need to fit in or I bring part of me. So I feel like, again, along the way, I identified the gaps. I was challenged to raise the bar, and I just showed up. If the only thing, again, I see, like, again, having that vision that how can I make this the place I am a better place, a little bit better, like the way that my grandmother made the next generation a bit better and my mom made it a bit better. So it's kind of like, how can I leave to make it a bit better? So that has been my guidance to what is next.
And I think you're, if I heard you correctly, you're starting to write a book.
Yes, the book is done. I am in the process of finalizing the edits, and hopefully in 2026, this year, is a publication.
Oh, okay. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck on that. And let us know when it's out.
Okay.
And we'll see. Maybe we can have another session, so that we can feature
Yeah, for sure.
book. Do we have any questions from the audience?
No, I don't see anybody. Yeah, it's all black. I think it's a browser issue, something. But never mind.
But you heard her.
Yes, absolutely, and quite mesmerizing. Yeah, very, very very, how would I say, enlightening to me, and something I learned. I do come from, I come from Vietnam. We lost our country, South Vietnam, and all these things. Uh, well, we come from a very different, not clearly not American, but also not like you. So, uh, yeah, also very violent kind of background, and people do die and that sort of thing. But I think the culture of the Vietnamese in California is, I think that makes the Vietnamese very combative. I wouldn't say that's a good thing, but yeah, these are very combative people. They don't back down. Um, yeah, that's another aspect. That's the opposite aspect of, now that in my old age now, I how would I say, uh, I train myself more and more to, just chill and let things be, something like that. If it makes any sense, it's a different thing. But thank you, Miriam, for sharing. Very empowering. Thank you.
Thank you, Hug.
And you may not know, Mariam, we also have somebody in our team who's leading the project management of the 2 days, Daria, coming from Iran, right?
Yes, we just met before. I told her how much I love her name. And I was like, I want to connect with her, regardless if I meet her today or not. And we are here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing how you pictured how we live. So that's the picture I tried to forget for many, many years. And the hiding, just recently I could be able to just come out of that hiding. And the impact that it has on young children is almost irreparable. So it just, it needs lots of effort, lots of work. People who do not experience it, they cannot comprehend how hard it is and how traumatic it is. But thank you for bringing that and explaining it. And I liked the idea that you brought it right now, the people in Iran, how they lead. And that's, putting a name to it. It's also incredible. What they do is beyond everything, that you just come and just just go against what is not right and be brave enough to pay with your life. It's not easy, for families to lose 17-year-old child. That's tough, and it's happening right now. And it's everyone. I mean, the whole world should hear that. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me here to be able to share.
Maryam, thank you so much just for sharing a lot about yourself, your life. I don't know how frequent you might share this or if it's a challenge, but we really do appreciate it because I think stories like this are truly inspirational for a lot of other people who are not able to speak about theirs or who are either afraid to or something like that. So I think on that note, I mean, thank you very much for being able to share and inspire so many of us that are here and those who will watch this in the following days and weeks once this video is recorded and released.
Thank you so much for having me, Deepak. Such an honor.
Likewise.
And a bit of trivia, Deepak, I met Mariam at the Now conference.
Oh.
UC Berkeley and UC Davis, right? So
you're at UC Davis. Oh my God, yes.
And she signed up as a mentee. That's how I met her.
Yes.
Oh, it's funny, just taking the context out of this aside, I thought you looked familiar. I was just like, how do I know her? Oh my God, yes, you were at the Now conference, the very conference that Lisa and I were talking about. Oh my God, yes,
So we were there for the
UC
two
Davis,
in-person,
yes.
in-person events.
At the Oakland
All right.
Marriott, yes.
There's the connection.
There's the connection. Okay. Okay. So anyway, no problem. Well, to kind of bring us home a little bit here, just I do want to honor our time as we are concluding. But I did want to actually let everybody know. Yeah, so for those of you that are on this call, if you haven't taken this survey yet, please use the QR code and just to kind of give a survey about this entire conference, your thoughts on it, things that you've learned. And for every one survey that you submit, you could get 1 month complimentary free subscription to joining the mentoring club. So, for example, if you do 6 sessions, you can get 6 months as a subscription as a mentee. So, for those of you that are not officially connected yet, this is definitely something that you can have. The first 10 responders will receive, they'll be eligible to receive some of the exclusive giveaways, things that you see here, like the name tags, luggage tags, hat, shirts, things like that. So yeah, something that could definitely come with that survey. And that survey is really helpful for us to be able to be better about how to make this better for you. Okay. Same thing here. Exact same QR codes. Register as a mentee, register as a mentor. That is definitely something that is easy to do. Not a problem. Just use your QR code, save that. And then in addition, some of the other workshops that we have that are coming up, once again, another QR code, we have a series of workshops, things like leadership liftoff, building your leadership, navigating different networks and understanding things related to AI. So yeah, I wanted to give a little bit of a program to that. And then for specifically to this workshop is if you use this QR code, we are offering a 25% discount to that as well. So I do want to, if Liesel or Daria, if you don't mind, just if you can drop the promo code inside the line. It is LFS 2026 WKP. Otherwise, if not, I will be happy to drop that in a moment. But yes, but if you can actually do that, that's the code that'll specifically be for registering for the workshops with a 25% discount, which is actually right there on the screen, as a matter of fact. So yes, you can see it. So I do appreciate that. And last but not least, we also have a VIP access pass. So for anybody who wants to sign up, you can definitely get access to all of these recorded sessions that were provided for this very conference for the last 2 days. That'll be available. And we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary as the mentoring club. So just kind of a way to really commemorate an entire decade of a lot of powerful relationships that have come from this, from both a combination of mentors who have been able to give back and then mentees who have been able to grow professionally as part of this network. And I believe this is the final session that we have is Beyond the Spotlight, Coaching Journeys from Stage, Field, and Office to Entrepreneurship. So that should be the next session that proceeds after or succeeds after this one. So without further ado, I would like to thank everybody for coming, and I would like to turn it over to Arnold to show a video of the Mentoring Club's journey. Take it away, Arnold.
What has been the biggest challenge you've faced as an entrepreneur, and how did your leadership style help you overcome it?
Wow, that's a really good one. Probably the greatest challenge being an artist is financial resources. When you're an artist, you have to put so much time into developing skill set, and that never ends. You can become the greatest, fastest piano, whatever it is in your art form in a singular moment, but if you don't maintain that skill set, which requires hours of time, then your skills will decline. It is just a fact. Any athlete, any musician, any singer, any artist, that's just the nature of the field, is that we have to feed it on a regular basis. And unfortunately, unless you're in a system where the government supports artists, there's nobody pays you to do that skill development, but it's still required. On top of whatever you do to feed yourself until you get to the point where you've converted your art form into feeding you with enough financial resources. Because that's the other thing too, musicians in particular and dancers, on your day-to-day gigs, on your regular jobs, you're so vastly underpaid that very few people can break out of the cycle and get to the point where their art literally feeds them, provides a place to live. So that's the greatest challenge as an artist, because those of us who love it, we put in the time. I will happily practice for 10 hours a day or write or arrange or whatever. And I do that endlessly in my work. But then we always have to try to figure out another way. How do I convert all of that work into sufficient income? Because trust me, venues want to pay you $100, which at least in California is not going to do very much when you consider it's 6 hours of your life, maybe 7, to do a single gig when you packing it up. doing the rehearsals, doing the gig, packing back up again, chasing down your money. Sometimes venues don't pay you correctly. That's probably the biggest challenge. And my leadership skills that have helped me to overcome it are looking big picture. Looking at what is the value I'm providing to the audience? What is the emotional catharsis that I'm providing so that they'll want to think, I'm feeling a particular emotion. What resonates that? Victoria's music. Victoria's playing. And so that's where we can do it. It's not easy to do because there's an ocean of music available now, thanks to Spotify and these other free services. But it is possible.
Hi, my name is Emily Hu, and I am a leader. Not because that's my title, but because people trust me with hard problems. I lead forward by doing the work first. I build, I test, I fail fast, and I tell the truth about what I learn, whether it's engineering, clinical operations, investing, or professional sports. I don't ask others to take risks that I haven't taken myself. I mentor by raising standards and supporting at the same time. I don't lower the bar to make things comfortable. I help people to build the skill, judgment, and confidence to clear it. I believe leadership is about leverage, not control. My job is to see patterns early, remove friction, and give people clarity so that they can move faster than they thought possible. I lead with accountability and I lead with experience. If something works, the team gets credit. If something fails, I own it and we fix it. And I lead by investing in people before they're obvious bets. The future isn't built by perfect resumes. It's built by capable people who are willing to learn, adapt, and act. That is how I lead. Forward with purpose and with others, not ahead of them.
In 1998, an epiphany led me to the goal of transitioning my career from the Philippines to Silicon Valley. 2 years later, I met with people in the Valley to find a job. The dot-com bubble was bursting. I didn't get a job, but I met over 150 people. In 2002, 3 of my contacts hired me. I joined their internet consulting company. 8 years later, I became Chief Operating Officer and part owner, then exited in 2020 to focus on the Mentoring Club, my Give Back Passion project. The Mentoring Club connects working people to accomplished leaders for leadership development mentoring. With a growing community of hundreds of mentors, mentees, volunteers, donors, and partners globally, we are changing the world one leader at a time.
What is my vision for the Mentoring Club? When I started the Mentoring Club in 2016, I declared that our mission is to provide a mentoring community for young leaders. When we launched, not only young leaders signed up, mid-career people and advanced career people signed up. And so we evolved our mission to provide a mentoring community for aspiring and seasoned leaders, where seasoned leaders refer to both the mentors and the mentees. Today, anywhere in the world, we help working people find mentors who can guide them to develop the skills they need to achieve their career and life goals. We help mentees fulfill their goals through meaningful work that creates positive impact in the world. We believe that when we're doing meaningful work, that's when the leaders in us come out because we care about the results. And when we care about the results, then that is how we can make a positive impact in the world. Ultimately, my vision is that as mentees become successful leaders, my dream is for them to become mentors to others. And that's how the cycle of giving back can continue, hopefully without end, hopefully even long after I'm gone. One of the ways we attract people into the Mentoring Club is to share our leadership core values. Our anchor values are trust, leadership, and community. Under trust, we believe that integrity, honesty, and commitment are what make us trustworthy as individuals and professionals. Under leadership, we believe that health, vision, and execution are all needed to be successful leaders. One without the others pretty much leads to nothing. We have to have all of them. And it is understandable that not all of us will be great at both visioning and execution. So if you're great at visioning, find somebody to help you execute. And if you're great at execution, find somebody whose vision you can support and help execute. That way, both of you can become successful leaders. And the last anchor value, community. Under community, we believe that humanity, contentment, family are the social grounding forces that make us feel fulfilled and happy. At the end of the day, even though we're successful as leaders, if we don't have anybody to share that success with, then it will be a lonely success. And so we encourage everybody to think about their values. And if those values align with ours, then this may be just the right community to be a part of.
What is the mystery to life? It's fulfillment. Feelings come and go. Values kind of get you through the pain. They get you through the good times. They get you through a lot of things, but they are a higher level of consciousness and meaning.
A better you, a better me makes a better world. It's more than a phrase. If we could take the time to maybe reflect on it, it can be used as a powerful tool to help us to intentionally grow. When we see growth in areas where maybe we are going to learn a skill, seek mentorship, develop ourselves, learn a new language, take daily walks, we can grow ourselves, and then through that, we can motivate others to also grow. We can support each other at the workplace. We can motivate each other. We can share knowledge, and together we can build. Let's take our communities where people have grown themselves. We can do that, help our communities, our neighbors, and our families. So growth is ingrained in this phrase, a better you, a better me, makes a better world.
Hi, my name is Daria Tahiri. One of my core values that I would like to talk today about is don't take things personally. Many years ago, I adopted this from the book of 4 Agreements by Dr. Miguel Ruiz. By practicing this, I feel that I'm empowered. My energy can be spent in more important areas rather than thinking why the person said that way or why he or she acted this way. Another agreement says, ask questions, don't make any assumptions. The combination of these both values helped me tremendously go through life. It's a hard practice. I might not be able to be successful every day, but at least I'm conscious about it and I am practicing it every day and I get better at it every day. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Massimo Thoni and I am here very excited to share with you my journey as a mentee in the Mentoring Club. I am happy that I can be able to share my experience. I am part of the people that are really benefiting from this. So I got the chance and the privilege to be mentored by the CEO, Lizel. It has been a transformative journey. I have learned a lot of skills from leadership to resilience to communication and a lot more things that I've learned from her, and I am really grateful. And one of the core values that I will speak about today is resilience. The mentorship has really deepened my understanding on resilience. It has shown me on how to adapt and to be flexible and how to stay focused no matter what challenges comes my way. I also learned that resilience is not just about bouncing back whenever you're faced with a backlash or a certain challenging situation. It is also about coming out stronger and better than the way you were before the challenge came. So this mentorship really has been a game changer for me, and I have grown a lot in ways that I could not imagine. I have advanced in my career, I've advanced in my projects, and also my dealing with other people. I am deeply grateful to Lizel and the Mentoring Club for this opportunity. The journey has been of growth, learning, and self-discovery, and I can't wait to apply everything I've learned to make a meaningful impact in my community. So thank you so much for this incredible experience, and have a great event.
Hi, I am Idowolawe. I am a mentor in the Mentoring Club. One of my values is humanity. What does humanity mean to me? Humanity is about building connection and fostering a sense of belonging It emphasizes the importance of community and the collective well-being of society. In essence, making humanity a core value means embracing the qualities that make a genuinely human, our ability to care, connect, grow, and act with integrity. It's about seeing the inherent worth in every person and striving to make the world a better place for all.